Nice to meet you, teacher. We are Group 5. Today we will present Chapter 10 Motivation, Personality, and Emotions. First of all, this is our table of contents. We have total 6 learning objectives. Now, moving on to learning objective number 1, the natures of motivations. So, the energizing force that activates behavior and provides purpose and direction to that behavior is known as motivations. And moreover, motivations is also have to answer the questions of why consumer engage in specific behaviors. And motive represents an observable in the force that stimulates and compels a behavioral response and provides specific direction to that response. And the motive is why an individual do some things. Take an example. Like right now, I feel hungry, and this inner force is making me search for the type of food I want to eat, and I decide to eat an burger from McDonald's, so it will satisfy my hunger. And when a consumer feel a gap between a desired state and his or her actual current state, this is recognized as a drive state referred to as motivation, or we use like used interchangeably. Numerous theories of motivations, but intersections, which describe two particularly useful approaches. And the first approach is Maslow need hierarchy. So here is Maslow hierarchy of needs. The first thing you see here is physiological needs is everything basic you need to human survival. Like you need food to eat, you need water to drink, you need sleep, you need air to breathe. Without the thing, you cannot alive in the society. So when the individual physiological needs are satisfied, the needs for security and safety becomes salient. Like safety nets can be fulfilled by the family and society. For example, this is look like an emotional security or financial security. So the third level of human needs is social and involves feelings of belongingness. Belongingness refers to a human emotional need for interpersonal relationships or connectedness. This need is especially strong in our childhood and esteem need are the fourth level in Maslow hierarchy. Esteem presents to the typical human desire to be accepted and valued by the others, and the low self-esteem may result from imbalances during this level in the hierarchy. And the last is self-actualizations. This is also the highest level in the Maslow hierarchy. This level of needs refer to what a person's full potential is and the realizations of that potential. Although Maslow did not believe that many of us could achieve the true self actualizations, but he did believe that all of us experience transitory moments that we can know as big experiences of self actualization. And now, talking about the MCQ for psychological motives. Number one, cognitive preservation motives. Cognitive motive focus on like the person need for being adaptively oriented toward the environment and achieving a sense of meaning. Like in here, we have the need for attributions. This is like when we deal with our need to determine who or what causes the things that happen to us. The need for attribution is extremely relevant to consumer reaction to promotional messages. And the need for two categories is a consumer tendency to initially react to a new product. A thought it were designed as similar existing products is more likely to be based on a need to categories. And the need for objectifications. This is a type of cognitive reservation motives. This motive reflects need for observable cues or symbol that enable people to infer what they feel and know. And whether the outcome of the behavior is temporary or permanent is not used to classify MCQ for psychological motives. Number two, cognitive growth motives. So the first one is the need for autonomy, independence, and individuality. It is a characteristic of American cultures. Like for example, some girl is enough 15 years old, and she asking her parents for get more freedom. Like she want to make her own decisions that affect her future. She want to choose the clothes she wear today, and she want to choose the school she want to study. Moreover, A substantial amount of brand switching when the current brand is satisfactory may be explained by the stimulation's motive. Such variety seeking behavior may be a prime reason for brand switching and some impulse purchasing. And teleological need is consumer or pattern matchers who have image of design outcomes with which they compare their current situations. And the theories based on utilitarian need view the consumer as a problem solver who approaches situations like as opportunities to acquire useful information or the new skill. For the effective preservation motive or needs, we have tension reductions, self-expressions, ego defense, and reinforcement. Or with the effective growth motive or need, we have assertions, affiliation, identifications, and modeling.
Let's talk about the discovering purchase motives. Consumers buy the products for different reasons, but they won't confess that they buy the product to make themselves richer or more trendy. An example can be seen that the taste of Starbucks compared to Vietnamese coffee could be not appreciated, but somehow they still occupy a certain market share. This is because Starbucks' position is brand in a luxurious and leading to an increasing number of customers also buying Starbucks to increase the value. So moving to the motives that are known and freely admitted are called manifest motives, and latent motives are the motives that either are unknown to the individual or are such that the individual is reluctant to admit them. And manifest motives are easier to find, however, latent motives are harder to find. A popular term for identifying motives is layering or constructing a means and or benefit chain, and we can apply this approach to this example by providing answers to the factors posed to consider why you should drive an SUV instead of a minivan. After a combination of motives influencing the target market, the next step is to design the marketing strategy around the appropriate set of motives. So one consideration is the extent to which more than one motive is important. So if multiple motives are important, the product and advertising must provide and communicate respectively. So we must notice whether the motive is manifest or latent. Any given advertising may focus on only one or a few purchasing motives. So however, the campaign needs to cover all the important purchase motives of the target market to position the product in their schematic memory in a manner that corresponds to their manifest or latent motives for the product. So needs play a strong role in determining what is relevant or interesting to the consumer. A motivational state caused by consumer perceptions that have a product, brand, or advertisement, and moving to the low involvement decision and high involvement decision. So when you go to a store, you might see a chips and you realize you are hungry and want them. So these are the items that are typically low involvement decisions. So low involvement decisions aren't necessarily the products purchased on impulse, although they can be. And by the contrast, high involvement decisions carry a higher risk to buyers if they are fail, are complex, and have a high price tag, so such as a car, a house, and insurance policies.
Next, I will talk about marketing strategy based on motivation conflict. A broad motivational conflict is a type of psychological conflict that occurs when a person has to choose between two equally attractive and desirable options. Example: Coca-Cola and Pepsi. When you might try only one in two options, to resolve this conflict, you might try to compare the pros and cons of each option or seek more information about them. Next is APROC. Avoidant motivational conflict is a type of psychological conflict that occurs when a person has to make a decision about a situation that has both positive and negative consequences. For example, imagine you have to decide whether to accept a job offer that pays well and has good benefits, but also require you to relocate to another city and leave your friends and family behind. This situation creates an abrupt, avoidant conflict because you are attracted to the job but repelled by the relocation. Avoid. Avoidant motivational conflict is a type of psychological conflict that occurs when a person has to choose between two equally undesirable options, which example is choosing between going to the dentist or living with touch A. I will talk about marketing strategy based on regulatory focus. Marketing strategy focuses on regular focus able to consumer motivational orientation, such as promotion or retention focus, which are driven by ideal, aspiration, and achievement. For example, such as Colgate promotions focus message might say a tree of brighter smile and more confident with our whitening formula, while a retention focused message might say avoid cavity and gum disease with our fluoride protection.
The next part is personality. Scientists in the field of psychology and human behavior have used hypotheses, experience, case studies, and clinical research to develop personality theories. Your distinct set of behavior, experience, emotions, and thought patterns make up your personality. There are two types of it. There are multi-trait approach and single-trait approach. In multi-trait, there are five core traits. Extroversion refers to an individual's outgoing, sociable, talkative, and shiftive nature, often influenced by social interactions. Instability is a psychological condition characterized by emotional instability, anxiety, mood swings, and emotional reactivity. Agreeableness, a trait indicates a tendency towards kindness, cooperation, and consideration is a key factor in personality and behavior. Researchers estimate openness to experience to understand its impact on personality and behavior in individuals who are curious, imaginative, and receptive to new ideas. Conscientiousness relates to organizational responsibility and self-discipline, affecting personality and behavior. The second one is single trait. Consumer enthusiasm refers to a preference for goods and service from one's own nation or culture over those from other cultures, influencing consumer behavior and attitude towards domestic and import products. The single trait approach focus on understanding how the need for cognition affects consumer decision making, information processing, and attitude towards complex products and advertisement. Consumers desire uniqueness, preferring original, distinctive, or unconventional goods or experience.
So next we will talk about the use of personality in marketing practice. So first for perceptions, perceptions of reliability and quality went down after the Toyota recall. Among Toyota owners, reliability is the um, brand personality trait associated with competence. For brand personality, a set of human characteristics that become associated with a brand is referred to as brand personality. So the next is the five basic dimensions of brand personality. First is sincerity. Brands that exhibit sincerity are seen as honest and genuine. Consumers are drawn to brands that are authentic and have a sense of integrity. Brands that exhibit insincerity can create long-lasting relationships with their customers. Simon one, brands that are seen as daring and imaginative are perceived as exciting. These brands often use bold colors and unconventional designs. Exciting brands appeal to consumers who want to stand out from the crowd. And when it delivers high quality products or services, they also consider the company's expertise, reliability, and innovation. Competence is a key factor in building trust and loyalty with customers. Sophistication. Brands perceived as sophisticated are seen as refined and exclusive. Sophisticated brands are often associated with luxury and high-end products. Sophisticated brands are typically marketed towards an older and affluent demographic. Ruggedness. Brands that are rugged are perceived as outdoorsy, tough, and rugged. Consumers who identify with rugged brands are more likely to value adventure, excitement, and a sense of danger. Rugged brands often use imagery of mountains, forests, and other natural settings to evoke a sense of adventure. How to communicate brand personality. So firstly, is the land of the advertisement. It's not an advertisement tactic used to communicate brand personality. And secondly, user imagery. involves showing a typical user along with images of the types of activities they engage in while using the brain.
Moving to the learning objective 5 is define the emotions and list the major emotion of dimensions. First, emotions are often triggered by environmental events. Second, they are accompanied by physiological change. Third one is emotional generally. Thought not necessarily are accompanied by cognitive thought. And the last one is emotions have the associated behaviors. If as you could doubtless name numerous emotions. Third, it is not surprising that researchers had attempted to categorize emotions into manageable clusters. Some researchers have suggested that three basic dimensions, pleasure, arousal, and dominance, PAD, underlie all emotions. Some specific emotions reflect various combinations and levels of these three dimensions. The three primary PAD dimensions, a variety of emotions or emotional categories associated with each dimensions and indicators or items that we use to measure each emotions.
Let's move on to the emotion and marketing strategy. An emotion is a feeling such as happiness, love, fear, anger, or hatred, which can be caused by situation you are in and the people you are with. By exploring products that skillfully evoke emotion in consumers. Think about movie, books, music, on brand, example of items that touch your heart, exotic resort destination like Las Vegas, and adventure travel program also excel in this regard. Modern advertising campaigns actively leverage emotion. You might recall Bacardi Burns, Shake Up Your Night, Bontica G6, movie like a shaker or Chevrolet, an American Revelation. Retailer, on the other hand, craft environment and events that are emotionally engaged. Take website using avatar as an example. They boost our sense of social interaction, either pleasure and influence our purchase decision. Now, let's shift our focus on gratitude in relationship marketing. Gratitude is the emotional appreciation for the benefit we receive from brand. To foster gratitude firm invest in improving their relationship with customer. This investment yield greater trust, more purchase, and gratitude-based reciprocity. Think about the numerous medications available to alleviate anxiety and depression. These products address the emotional well-being of consumers. Stress relief products, food and alcohol are often consumed in response to stress. They can provide temporary relief, but it is essential to be mindful of our ingredient. You likely seen flour heavily roasted as a remedy for sadness. This reflects our intent to seek comfort from nature when dealing with emotions. Weight loss and self-improvement products. These products are often marketed to reduce feeling of guilt, helplessness, shame, or disgust, effectively addressing consumer emotional concern. Personal appearance can significantly affect our emotion. Many grooming products emphasize anxiety reduction as a major benefit, and even charitable organizations understand the emotional aspect. They often highlight guide reduction or avoidance to encourage contribution. Let's delve into coping strategy for dealing with negative emotion stemming from stressful events such as bad customer service or product failure. Three broad coping styles is active coping, aggressive such as seeking and avoidance. So coping strategies significantly influence how we respond to negative emotion. Being aware of these strategies can be evaluated in resolving issues and maintaining emotional balance. For example, NutriFood. These advertisements focus on the image of the mother and child, emphasizing the love between them and the care provided by the mother. Message: NutriFood milk, love from nature. The impact: the advertisements evoke feeling of family and love, promoting positive interaction. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you, teacher, for your attention.
Hello teachers, our group is group 5 and today our group will talk about attitudes and influencing attitudes. So here is the table contents of our group. So for the first part, we will look for the definitions of attitude and its roles in consumer behavior. What is attitude? It's an enduring organization of motivational, emotional, perceptual, and cognitive process with respect to some aspect of our environment. It is learned predispositions to respond in a consistently favorable or unfavorable manners with respect to a given object.
Objective 2 Attitude Components. First is cognitive component. Cognitive component refers to the mental processes involved in acquiring, processing, and retaining knowledge. It includes perception, memory, and thinking. For examples of cognitive component, perception, the ability to gather and interpret sensory information; attention, the ability to focus on specific task or stimulus; memory, the ability to store and retrieve information. Example of cognitive component in Vietnamese. The Vietnamese language uses a wide range of tones to convey meaning. Vietnamese culture places a great emphasis on respect for elders and authority figures. Traditional Vietnamese music often features pentatonic scales. So how to optimize the cognitive component in marketing? The cognitive component of marketing involves creating brand awareness, knowledge, and beliefs. Use attention grabbing visuals and messaging to enhance memory and recall. Effective component in marketing. What is the effective component? Effective component in marketing refers to the emotional connection between a brand and its customer. Brand Emotional branding creates loyal customers. So why is the effective component important in marketing? So emotional branding can create a strong connection between a consumer and a brand. It helps brands stand out and fosters loyalty and trust. How to create an emotional connection with your customers? First, use storytelling to create emotional connection with your customers. Make sure your branding and messaging align with your customers' values. Use images and colors that evoke positive emotions. For examples of successful emotional marketing campaigns, effective marketing connects with the audience on an emotional level. Examples include Nike's Just Do It, Coca-Cola Share Coke, and Apple's Think Different campaigns.
So let's talk about the behavioral component. Behavioral component of attitude is one tendency to respond in a certain manner toward an object or activity, a series of decisions to purchase or not purchase a product, or to recommend it or the brands to your friends will reflect the behavioral component. Regarding the difference between direct approach and indirect approach, using the direct approach, you deliver the message straight away after your salutation, whereas a more indirect approach will include some kind of buffer you before you deliver your message. And such direct questioning may work well for the mass consumption, but not so well for sensitive topics such as alcohol or eating patterns, where consumer may understand negative behaviors or intentions. So in this case, asking indirect questions such as estimating the behaviors of other people similar to themselves may have reduced bias. So this graph illustrates the critical aspect of attitudes. All three attitude components tend to be consistent. And this means that a change in one attitude component tends to produce related changes in other component. A cognitive component consists of the individual beliefs or knowledge about the object, and beliefs can be about the emotion, benefits, or objective features. So affective component is emotion or feelings about specific attributes or overall objects. The impact, for example, of a product with a high artistic appeal that taps consumer affective reactions by going beyond the cognitive association of functionality. And behavioral component one's tendency to respond in a certain manner toward an object or activities, and it reflects over actions in statement of behavioral intentions with respect to specific attributes of the object or the overall object. So at least we have six factors may account for inconsistencies between measures of beliefs and feelings and observations of behavior. So first one is lack of need, second is lack of ability, and next is relative attitudes, and moreover we have attitude ambivalence, and number five we have weak beliefs and affect, and finally we got interpersonal and situation influence.
Let's move to the next part. The next part is attitude change strategies. Attitude change strategies can be employed to target and modify the cognitive, affective, and behavior components of an attitude. There's some of the main points. The first one is the change the cognitive component. Offering information that challenge pre-existing beliefs can lead to cognitive restructuring, unnerving people's opinions and convictions. Counter-argumentation, which encourage people to create arguments that contradict their beliefs, can cause cognitive dissonance, prompting revelation and behavior modification. The next one is change the affective component. Emotional appeals and perspective taking are two key components of effective communication. Emotional appeals, such as sentimental or fascinating message, can elicit emotions that can change attitude by forging an emotional bond between the person and the subject. This tactic aims to evoke compassion and empathy for a specific problem, potentially influencing the person's attitude. Last one is change the behavioral component. Role playing is the behavioral strategy that helps people understand and experience different behaviors and perspectives. It aims to match attitude with desired behaviors by providing users with first-hand experience. Social modeling, which involves showcasing good examples of desired behavior, can affect attitudes and motivate behavior change by showing that people with similar attitudes also exhibit desired behaviors.
So we will continue with the learning objective fourth is describe the elaboration's likelihood model of persuasions. What is EME model? So it's a theory about how attitudes are formed and changed under varying conditions of involvement. So the ELM suggests that involvement is a key determinant of how information processed and attitudes are changed. High involvement results in a central route to attitude change, by which consumers deliberately and consciously process those message elements that they believe are relevant to a meaningful and logical evaluations of the brand. And in contrast, low involvement results in a peripheral route to attitude change in which consumers form impressions of the brand based on their exposures to readily available cues in the message, regardless of their relevance to the brand or decisions. Move to the co-relevance and competitive situations. So it is important to realize that central route processings involve extensive processings of decisions relevant information or cues. In addition, the competitive situations can also work to enhance the role of peripheral cues even under high involvement. For example, if competing brands are comparable in terms of their product features, high involved consumers prefer the brand with the strongest peripheral cues in its advertising. Consumer resistance to persuasions. So, consumers are not passive to persuasions attempt. Instead, consumers are often skeptical, an individual characteristic, and resist persuasions. Also, consumers frequently infer an advertised intent and respond in light of that presumed selling intent. For example, a recent ad for California's almond states, "It is uncanny how we raise indulgence and lower cholesterol." A consumer could respond to the ads as follows: "Of course, they are going to tell me almonds are healthy for me, and they are trying to sell more almonds. I'm still not convinced." To help reduce the likelihood of such response, the app makes use of the American Heart Association's and scientific research to bolster its health claims.
And now, moving on to learning objective number 5, describe the role of message sorts, appeal, and structures on attitudes. Let's understand more about sort characteristic. This is the sort of communication represents who delivers the message. The sorts is important because consumers respond differently to the same message delivered by different sources. And in short characteristic, we have short credibility. As it consists of trustworthiness and expertise, persuasion is easier when the target market views the message source as highly credible. Take an example, we have Dr. Rosenfeld. It's the doctor on Sunday House Call. This is also known as a Sunday morning health program on the Fox News channel. The doctor is highly esteemed his field and provides the up-to-date medical information for viewer. But however, sometimes he recommends specific products and a regular viewer of the program trusts what he says or recommends because he doesn't seem to have an apparent motive to mislead the viewer. Right? Talking about the celebrity sources, we have an example of Honda. Honda chose to collaborate with Deng Vogt in 2022. They have a plan to establish the new model of motorcycle named Winner Honda Winner X, and the target customer of them is the young generations. So, like by ditching into the thoughts and the concern of the younger generations, Honda realized that they were facing with many pressures in life, from worries about money to the success or the failure in their careers. So Honda wants to become their companion on the road to realizing their dreams and ambitions. That is the reason why they choose Dengvo, one of the famous rapper really popular with the young generations. And in this MV, the pictures of winner Honda winner is just like happen naturally, just so naturally, don't look like an advertisement video, right? So that's the reason why this campaign is really successful. About characters, it can be an animated animals, people, products, or other objects. Such characters symbolize the brand and give it an identity that competitors cannot easily duplicate. For example, when you see Starbucks, you definitely know the logo of them is look like that. And or KFC, it's just a pictures of the old man who are the owner of the KFC brand, or the chocolate from M&M. You will definitely know this object. You will remember it. And McDonald's is always attached with the cloud, something like that. Sponsorships occur when a company providing the financial support for an event such as the Olympics or the concert. This is one of the most rapidly growing the marketing activities and a multi-billion-dollar industry. Take an example that Nike collaborates with Ronaldo to advertise the new product, and also this Coca-Cola with the campaign named Dasco during the 2016 Rio Olympic Games, and a research that Coca-Cola had 10% accuracy in targeting the teenager age, and they reached to 77% of the Brazil teen population, 21 million, and they also generated over 30 million video views during the campaign.
We often hear that humor in advertising should be closely tied to the product or message. However, some successful campaigns like the Cogeco ads have demonstrated that loosely related humor can work wonders. The positive emotion triggered by humor can seamlessly transfer to the brand itself, enhancing its image. Yet, we must read carefully what's funny variety among individual culture and situation. Offensive or demanding humor can inflict serious damage on brand reputation. Comparative advertising can be a powerful tool for promoting new or lesser known brands, particularly those with strong product attributes. It helps establish their position in the market and uplift their image. However, it's essential to be concerned when established brands use comparative ads. In such case, the ad may come across as defensive, especially if they perceive as overly derogatory toward competitors. The characteristic of the audience play a significant role. Audience member brand loyalty, in particular, can greatly impact the effectiveness of brand comparative advertising. User or competitor brand may resist these comparative claims. Finally, we must exercise caution when using partial comparative ads. The ads blend comparative and non-comparative information and can potentially mislead consumers into believing that sponsor brand is superior in all aspects, not just in those that are being compared. Emotional or feeling ads are being used with increasing frequency. Emotional ads are designed primarily to elicit a positive affective response rather than to provide information or argument. Emotional ads such as those that arouse feeling of warm trigger physiological reaction. Emotional advertisements may enhance persuasion by increasing on-site messaging. Marketers promote their product by highlighting the benefits, focusing solely on the positive attributes, and often commit any mention of potential downside of competitor advantage. The concept of two-side messaging is somewhat counterintuitive. This strategy involves presenting both the strength and weakness of the product, including acknowledge any drawback of advantage competitor might have. It's a less common approach in marketing. Most marketers tend to be reluctant when it comes to the implement two-side messages. The conventional wisdom often leans toward emphasizing only the positive aspect of their products. On the other hand, two-side message through less conventional offer a more balanced and credible perspective. They can build trust with consumer and might be especially valuable when addressing potential concern or comparison with competitors.
The last is market segmentation and product development strategy based on attitude. Identifying market segment is a key aspect of marketing, segmenting consumers on the basis of their most important attribute. Our attribute is called benefit segmentation. Make it health and beauty products to both men and women. The products such as razor or skincare are typically more expensive for women than they are for men. These products packaging also differ. Products targeted to women having pink and floral accents that align with the gender stereotype. On the other hand, the company male targeted products are characterized by more dress, flag, and grace. Next is product development is the process of creating a new product or improving an existing one from the initial idea to the final launch. Product development involves various stages such as identifying a market need, researching the competition, designing a solution, developing a product roadmap, building a minimum viable product (MVP), testing and iterating based on user feedback, and releasing the product to the market. Example, Google focused on three core values to develop their product. First is focus on user. Second, think tennis. And the last is launch and integrate. They develop depend on their consumer feedback and iterate day by day.
This is the end of our presentation. Thank you, teacher, for your attention.